prose twice, and once, was it the first time for a screenplay? That was your first one, right? And is reading from the piece that won the first place for prose today called Middle Name. Soap is a graduating senior. She writes, animates, and looks at birds. Oh, wait, sorry. She writes, comma, animates, comma, and looks at birds, not animates birds. Well, animates birds, maybe it's... Sure. Cool. Okay. Their work often takes inspiration from their cultural heritage and themes of nature. Soap will be staying and working in Columbus, yay, after graduation for the time being. Please welcome Sophia Soap Reza.
This is an excerpt from my prose piece, Middle Name. It is about these two high school kids, one of them who is a folklorico dancer, coming home from prison. And I'm starting in the middle of it. They walked the cracked sidewalk all the way into Rachel's neighborhood. It was quiet for the most part until they were only a few blocks away from her house, when Sally opened his mouth again. You never answered me. Do you like folklorico? Rachel sighed heavily. Yes. Cool. Sally leaned over his right shoulder to spit in the grass. What song are you dancing to? You don't know it. Oh yeah? How do you know? It's Mexican. I'm Mexican. Yeah, but it's Mexican. Sally rolled his eyes. What's the song? La Madrugada. They finally came up to Rachel's house. Weirdly, the lights weren't on. Mom probably was asleep. She sped up the creaky wooden steps leading to the small porch and set her bag and shoes down on the doormat below the front door. I don't know that one, Sally admitted as he climbed the steps after her, two at a time. I told you. Rachel flipped her backpack around and unzipped the front pocket for her house key. She glared up at Sally as he came to her side, her hand shoved deep in her backpack. You can leave now. Why? Because. Fuck, where was that key? I'm home now. You've walked me home. You can leave. But I gotta wait to make sure you're inside, Sally smirked. Rachel groaned and threw her backpack down on the doormat. She crouched and unzipped the next pocket, rummaging through loose papers and thick folders for her key. Of course she forgot to fucking bring it. She stood up fast and pounded on the front door. She waited. She knocked again. She waited. Rachel slammed the meat of her fist against the door several times and waited again. Nothing. No footsteps, no voices. Perfect. Fucking perfect. Rachel spun around, knocking her shoulder into Sally, who stumbled and sat on the top step. She wouldn't cry. She would not cry. There was no way in hell that she was going to let Sally fucking Schaefer see her cry. She would literally rather die. Rachel felt her face get hot and her throat started to close up. She took off her glasses and covered her face with her hands, slouching over so Sally wouldn't see. She heard him shuffle up behind her. Rachel, are you okay? I'm fine, she choked out. What's wrong? Go home, Sally. Why are you upset? I said go home! She whipped her head around to yell at him, her face speckled red. A couple of dark strands fell out of her ponytail and stuck to her wet cheeks. She stared at him, trying to make him crumble into dust. Jesus, are you on your period or something? She hated him. Rachel turned back around, shaking her head. Of course this is how her night would go. She was locked outside her house, stuck with the worst person she knew. No phone, no jacket, no parents. She felt tears start to form again. The streetlights flicked on. Everything was orange. Sally sat down next to her. She saw him take off his cap and rub the back of his neck like the corner of her eye. Hey, so can I ask you something? Rachel was going to explode. What? She croaked. Why do you go by Rachel? That's not your name, right? She rubbed her eye. Her headache was worse, and Sally's stupid questions weren't helping. No, it's Ahanyane. Rachel's my middle name. Huh. So why do you go by Rachel? Why do you go by Sally? Salvador's not that weird. He shrugged. It's just easier. Rachel huffed. Well, there you go. It's easier. She knew that he wouldn't have survived high school with a name like Sally if it wasn't for his dumb machismo. The guys practically worshipped Sally, and he just loved making them laugh by harassing all the girls. But Rachel was sure that if he were more like her, he wouldn't stand a chance. It was probably the same as going by Salvador. Does it bother you? He asked. What? That you gotta go by your middle name? Rachel's mouth pursed in thought. When she was little, she liked her name. She liked learning how to spell it out in crayon. She liked how it looked next to gold stars on her school papers. She liked how her dad would say it, because he always said it with the right accent on the vowels. When she got older, though, something felt wrong. It didn't feel like her name, it felt like a siren. This girl is different, look at her, try and say her name, try and guess what she is. It felt like a lie. Dad said that Ahanyame came from the Guarihio people. Mom said that she wanted to name her Rachel. Did it bother her? I guess a little bit, she said. The air was quiet and cold. Autumn was finally rolling in. Rachel rubbed her arms and put her glasses back on. You good now? Yeah. Cool. Sally flapped his hat against his hand. You, want to talk about it? Rachel couldn't believe she was actually considering it. She wanted to talk about it with someone, but she didn't trust Sally for anything. After tonight, he was probably going to tell all of his stupid asshole friends that he spent the night with her, that she got locked out of her house and cried like a baby, and she was going to have to suffer all of school on Monday getting laughed at. If she opened up to him, she was sure that he'd treat it like a joke. Rachel sighed. Fuck it. It's just my mom was supposed to come pick me up from practice, but she didn't come. I couldn't call her because I got my phone taken away. I had to walk home, and I forgot my key. Rachel rubbed under her glasses. I do my homework. I get straight A's. I go to practice. I come home when I'm supposed to. I don't go to parties. I don't drink. I started vaping last week with Colin Kingston, and yet I'm the one who got in trouble. I do one bad thing, and now I'm a bad kid. All that trust I built up with my parents is gone, and my mom still can't remember to pick me up from dance practice. I don't even really like Folklorico anymore. All we ever do are the recitals at Christmas and Easter, and we don't even get to choose our dresses. Sally whistled. Damn. He scratched his head. You really don't like Folklorico? Rachel threw her hands up. Dude, why do you keep asking me about it? I don't know. I mean, I like dancing. It's just too much sometimes, I guess. There's too much pressure. She took a deep breath and quietly added, the only reason I still do it is for my dad. He was just so happy when I got interested in dancing. It's a part of his culture, you know? Yeah, I get it. Sally scratched his neck. My mom's been trying to teach me more Spanish. That's nice. Yeah, hey, listen, you can use my phone to call your mom, see where she is. Yeah, okay, thank you. He handed her his cracked phone and she typed in her mom's number. It rang for a while until finally she heard her mom's voice on the other end. Hello, Dr. Medina. Mom, where are you? Rachel, I got called in tonight. I had to go. I sent you a text. Rachel scowled. You took my phone, remember? Oh no, I forgot. Sorry. Did you get home okay? Yeah, but I don't have my key. Dad isn't home either. Crap. Well, okay, just wait there. I'll call him. He should be getting home soon. Okay. Love you. Bye. She gave Sally his phone back and hung her head between her knees. She knew Sally could hear everything being so close to her on the steps, so she didn't bother opening her mouth to tell him what Mom just said. He just sat there, his phone and cap in hand, his eyes on her. She could always feel his eyes on her. Rachel really hated him. She felt like she hated everything. When she told Mom about the annoying boy at school who wouldn't stop bothering her, she had said that he probably just had a crush on Rachel. That made her want to vomit. She didn't think Sally had the emotional capabilities. Sally slowly stood up. I think I should get going. Finally. Jesus. He stomped down a couple steps, then turned towards Rachel. See you Monday. Bye, Rachel said without looking up. She breathed a sigh of relief when she heard his sneakers start to scuff the sidewalk as he walked away. But her whole body tensed as they started to return. She looked up at Sally. What? He looked sweaty despite the cold. Do you want to dance with me? She recoiled. Is this some sick fucking excuse to touch me? No, he shook his head. I wanted to ask if you would teach me some moves. Like Folklorico? He looked to the side. I'm too embarrassed to try at home. I don't want my dad to see me. Rachel frowned. She'd never seen Sally like that. She'd never heard him talk like that either. She was stumped. Are you serious? Yes. It was hard to believe him. Why? He shrugged. You know, for the culture. Rachel was quiet for a moment. Sure, I guess. She stood up and slowly went down to him, like how a rabbit would approach a coyote. Do you want to play music on your phone? Yeah, here. He handed her his phone again. She started to play La Madrugada and set the phone down on the bottom step. So, how much do you know? Not much. Okay, well, she shifted her weight back and forth. As a general rule, when you're dancing Jalisco, you gotta keep your knees loose and bent. It's all on the feet. She started stamping along to the rhythm of the song, counting in her head, her hands on her hips. These are just some basic steps. She switched the pattern of her stamps, adding heel in between two steps like the galloping of a horse. It's kind of all about the tempo of the song and like matching your steps to the music. Then she went into her favorite step pattern, stomping, kicking her heel out on the ground in front of her other leg, before smacking it into a ball change and twisting out again. She stomped into a stop, turned around and paused the music, then turned back again. Do you want to try? Sally's eyes bulged out of his head. He looked up at Rachel and nodded, and put his hands on his hips. Rachel smirked. No, girls do hands on hips for holding the skirts. Boys put their hands behind their back like this. She turned and showed him how to grasp his wrists behind his back. They went slowly. Sally was a simple boy, after all, without any music and with Rachel counting aloud. What Sally lacked in knowledge, surprisingly, he made up for with enthusiasm. He seemed kind of happy. He actually listened when Rachel showed him what to fix. Eventually, once Sally sort of got the steps down, Rachel consented to dancing together. Sally's excitement made her a little excited too. She even ran back up the steps to unzip her dress bag and pull her skirt out. With the hem of her long skirt bunched in her hands at her hips, they started stomping in each other's rhythm. Sally following Rachel's lead as she turned into him and twirled her crinkly skirt. Sally practically begged her to let him try it with the music. He could barely keep up with the quick tempo of the song, but they just laughed and kept going, breathless and red-cheeked as they spun around and made up their own moves under the orange streetlight.